on your end. We're outside of the prison here in Huntsville, Texas. This is where the Texas death row inmates are brought when they're going to be executed. And Quintin Jones is inside this building, and an execution is scheduled for 6 p.m. Central Time. That's 40 minutes from now. There are still appeals going through the Supreme Court, at least as far as we know. Those appeals are still active. But we're here providing a moral witness, calling out for an end to the death penalty in our country and to stop this execution on this day. So we're both committed to the salvation of Quintin Jones tonight and the abolition of the death penalty. So we find ourselves here. We're going to meet people today, and I'll just note here that this prison is a very difficult looking place. As you can see, it has that classic look in view of difficulty and pain. And it's a small group that's out here. We know that there are millions around the country and around the world who want to bring an end to the death penalty. And often, as is the case, a small group gathers to bear witness outside the facility where this is happening rather than a large group. One of the people who's been doing a lot of organizing around this is Abe Bonowitz. This is Abe.
Hello.
Abe would be glad to get you one of these shirts too, which I'm sure he will tell you if you're interested in one of these shirts, if you want to bear witness on street corners of your own. So Abe, tell us what we're doing here.
Well, actually, I'm going to ask you to go and talk to one of those people over there while I'm sharing the stream around, and I'll be back with you all.
We'll get back to Abe here in a minute. I'm going to talk to some of these folks. Hi there, would you mind joining our live stream and sharing why it matters for you to be out here today?
You know, he's got my cell phone. So
yeah. What is it that brings you out? And
we're there. I belong to the Texas Death Penalty Abolition Movement, and we support families that have been victimized by the death penalty.
Yeah. Well, thank you for this. It's a hard day.
I mean, this death penalty.
Thank you.
Premeditated murder. This is just premeditated murder. You know. So we're here to support the family, and I'm praying to God that does the right thing. Does the right thing. Does the right thing. The family forgives him. God forgives him.
We had a little problem on the last live stream. Can you do all that conversation we had a few minutes ago all over again? All right, let's do it again. So you have a particular connection to what's going on here with Quintin?
First off, my name is Roderick Reed. I'm the brother of Rodney Reed, an innocent man on Texas death row. We're here to stand in solidarity with the Jones family because, first off, we don't believe in the death penalty. We believe that no one should be put to death. We are all more than the worst thing we ever done. We all should have a chance at redemption. And it's hard to be here because, you know, I have a brother on death row right now. He's had 2 execution dates. We've had 2 stays. And this is very hard, and it touches my heart because I know what the family is going through. I am in those shoes. I wear those shoes. And but we're going to do all that we can do to help try to get him a stay, give him clemency.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we know, you know, that this is scheduled in the next few minutes for this execution to go through. So standing out here also means something more than that, doesn't it? You feel like you're out here, your family connecting with Quintin Jones and his family. Does it feel that way for you too?
Yeah, it does feel that way because it's hard for other people to really understand the pain and the pressure and everything that these families are going through unless you've been there. You know, and we have been there, and we are still there. We're still there. My brother's still on death row right now as we speak, and we're trying to help abolish the death penalty all the way across the board because it's cruel, inhumane, and it's racist, and it shouldn't even exist.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And so we're trying to do all that we can do to prevent another family from standing in these shoes,
Yeah.
from being out here trying to save a loved one's life. Because murder is just that, is murder.
Yeah.
No matter if it's state sanctioned, federal sanctioned, it is still murder. And I don't agree with murder. And that's the reason why we travel all over trying to help abolish the death penalty. That's the reason that every venue we come to, we voice
Yeah.
that. We voice that. And we stand on that.
Yeah, it's a big commitment for you. I mean, you're not only thinking about your own brother, but you're thinking about the others and the other places and traveling to these other places as well.
And it's like it says, you know, it is easy to do for your own loved ones, but when you step outside of that and you do for other people, then that's when you're truly living. That's when you're truly trying to make a difference.
Can you say a bit too about what it means for you that other people who be watching this stream or hearing about this on the news and talking with their friends, what that means to you and maybe to Quintin Jones' family, that other people are thinking about these issues as well?
Well, I can speak for myself, and what it means to us is just doing the right thing, you know, and being accounted for. You know what I mean? It's like I say, this is very trying time right now to be out here, to be standing here, you know, because the shoes could be reversed. You know what I mean?
And the family is making it clear.
And
The family is forgiven. And we have a forgiving God. And if family is pleading and forgave Quintin, why can't the governor forgive?
why can't the state?
It's in the governor's hand. It's in Governor Abbott's hand.
Yes, it is.
And by him being a Catholic, I'm sure he believes in God. And God is a forgiving God. And his family, Quintin's family, has forgiven him. What? Why can't Governor Abbott forgive him and give him peace?
This is my mother.
I am the mother of Rodney Reed,
Yeah.
and he is innocent. But it doesn't matter if guilty or innocent,
No
there
one
should be
deserves.
no death penalty.
No
Yeah.
one deserves to die.
No one. Thou shalt not kill.
Right.
Thou shalt not bear false witnesses.
Yeah, it might mean everyone.
Yes. And so we're out here to support the family.
Yeah.
And hopefully Governor Abbott finds in his heart to forgive as Quintin's family has forgiven him.
Well, your family is a great inspiration to so many. So I'm sorry for all the pain that you're experiencing too, and the
24 years.
loss of your son and
Yes.
his being wrongly convicted and
Yes. But
incarcerated.
we will pursue, no matter what,
So much.
to end this death penalty, fight to end the death penalty.
It's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you.
Hey, hey.
Got the news thing going on. So,
Is this the lawyers?
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
Can
got
we?
it pretty good. Yeah,
I think he's in The Princess Bride or something. Right?
Yeah.
Put
you sideways.
one of our great writers, and he wrote a character that I got to play.
I don't have a
And
pen.
that
I had a
character
pen.
in the movie The Princess Bride
see.
had a line at the end of the movie that
There we go.
34-year-old Mandy
Can I go
didn't
louder?
really know what he was saying.
So sorry, y'all. This is Mandy
But in
Patinkin,
my
the actor.
50s, I heard it again. And one of those final words that that character said from the mind, heart, and soul of William Goldwyn was, I have been in the revenge business so long. Now that it's over, I do not know what to do with the rest of my life. Governor, we don't need to be in the revenge business. You as a great leader, we as citizens of our country, we need to learn to walk away from revenge and embrace love and compassion and forgiveness and the possibility of be able to control. This one moment is in our hands. Please, don't let it slip by. All we are asking, not Quinn so much, as us, as a community, I believe my son said over 6 million people have been touched by this story. We just want to exhaust every imaginable possibility. Please hold that soft space in your heart. We are all praying for you, Governor. We are all holding your heart in our hands. And we are asking you to just give this human being 30 more days so practitioners of the legal system can examine the situation to its fullest. So we can all move on. I don't wish anyone to be in the position you're in at this moment, but you're in it. And I know you will do the best you humanly possibly can, as all of us do that every single day of our breathing lives. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you and to speak to all the rest of you.
Okay, so here we're outside the prison here in Huntsville. There are a lot of different things going on. There's live streams with famous actors like Mandy Patinkin. There are local activists out here on the street with sound systems. So sometimes, we're out here with iPhones and live streaming, trying to share the story broadly.
Executed 570 people. We know that if execution stopped crime, there wouldn't be any crime in Texas. But a crime is getting ready to take place here tonight. The crime of premeditated murder, of a racist murder that's been approved by the racist governor and the people he appointed to the Board of Pardons and Paroles. The only time Governor Abbott has ever granted clemency, it was for a white man, upper middle class, college-educated family. I doubt if he even looked at the video that Quintin made for him. But everybody that knows Quintin knows that he is not the same person that he was back when he was 19 or 20 years old, strung out on heroin and crack cocaine, and he murdered his great aunt. He has been remorseful even before his trial. And over the last 20 years that he's been on death row, he has become a totally different person. Now, I don't know what kind of things Governor Abbott did when he was a teenager, and I don't really want to know, but all of us have done things we're not proud of. But when you grow up, most of us come to our senses and lead respectable lives, and that's what Quintin has done on death row. A member, Angie, who has visited him twice a month for the last 11 years, has developed a fondness for her friend because she says he's intelligent, he's empathetic, he's creative. She saw him this morning.
Come from as far
He
as
was
California to be here. And for many of us, I think we're coming from a lot of different angles. And for me as a Christian, I spent a lot of my life defending the death penalty, believing that the scripture justified it, that God ordained it. And then I began to see the holes in that theology. And I began really because I became closer. And I think proximity makes all the difference in the world. And, here we are just yards from where an execution is going to take place if the governor doesn't step in. And on the top of this building where the executions happen, there's a cross. There's a cross. And it occurs to me how easy it is to forget that at the center of the Christian faith is an executed and risen Savior who said himself, I did not come for the righteous, but for the sinners. I did not come for the healthy, but for the sick. Our scripture, which Jesus says, blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. And Governor Abbott is a committed Catholic. And we're asking him to dig deep into his own faith, like many of us have, and to consider that when Jesus said, blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy, it means we shouldn't execute someone. It's hard to imagine Jesus encountering Governor Abbott and saying, I actually wish you had killed Quintin Jones. It's unimaginable, but we can certainly imagine Jesus saying, thank you for showing mercy. Because blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. We look at the scripture, and the Bible is actually filled with people who murdered other folks. Moses murdered someone. Saul of Tarsus was a murderer. David committed adultery, even rape with Bathsheba, and had her husband Uriah killed. And the story of the Christian faith is that God is bigger than our mistakes, and that no one is beyond redemption. So that's what many of us are here to ask the governor to do today. Even the Pope, has said that the death penalty goes against and contradicts the gospel. The Catholic Catechism says that there's no place for the death penalty in our society. So we know that killing is wrong. And one of the early bishops of the church said, it's wrong when an individual kills another person. We all call that evil. But why do we say it's okay when the state does it en masse? And we are here to say it's wrong for a criminal to kill, and it is wrong for a governor to kill. We can do better than killing to show that killing is wrong. Violence is the problem, not the solution. So this is not just a political issue. This is a spiritual and moral crisis. And the governor has an opportunity to shine light. We believe that Texas will be even more beautiful without the death penalty. And it is time to get on the right side of history, and that's why we're here today. And I'm proud to stand with all of you as we pray for mercy, and we pray for a miracle of mercy, that the governor would step in and stop this execution. So thanks, Reverend Rob. Thanks for all of you. And we'll be out here vigiling with death penalty action and all the other groups that are here.
Give a little editorial on why you're out here, and you can do it on there, and
Say again?
you give a little editorial on what brings you out.
Oh, here? Yeah.
Oh, throwing yours, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which way is it?
Right
there
there,
you are.
this way. Okay, so I've hung out with Doug and Shane quite a bit, and we did that march from Charlottesville to DC, and so we became brothers, during that time. And all of us have these fundamentalist roots too, so we had a lot of stories that we could share. But through all the laughter, this is really serious stuff for us. Whether it's Black Lives Matter, or whether it's Christian nationalism, the eradication of that, and then the challenge of that, of course. But now, the death penalty. This is accentuating and cultivating this whole culture of violence that we just have to do away with. It's brutish. It's barbaric. It's premeditated murder. We have to get rid of this. And to me, I come from a background that was for the death penalty for most of my life. I was proponent of the death penalty. But then when you really start to think about it, even theologically, it doesn't fit. If you're pro-life especially, you have to be pro-life then from womb to the tomb, all the way through. And personally, I believe all life is sacred, and there's no man has the right to take away that life. And then secondarily, I truly believe in the forgiveness of God. I believe that God gives second chances, and he's about redemption. And so to me, when I look at Moses, I look at the Apostle Paul, I look at these men and I said, God forgave them, and they're like the heroes of the faith. Why can't we do that? So yeah, my heart's burdened, and I couldn't stay at home in California. I said I got to get out there with my brothers and sisters, and I got to make a stand. I want Quintin Jones to know he's not alone, and that we're praying tonight that his execution will be stayed, that there will be a clemency offered by Governor Abbott.
That's Dave Gibbons. Thank you, Dave. Dave Bonowitz.
Thanks everybody for watching, sharing, and being with us. It's interesting. There's a number of different folks out here. Well, Roderick is getting ready to speak. We should go and catch Roderick.
And this is Doug Padgett, who came from Minneapolis with Vote Common Good. Let me here.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, we have some. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, hello. Yeah, hi, Rob. You know, when you live in a time where there's such great social pain and social turmoil and difficulty, you don't do nothing, you do something. And for me and for so many people out here to stand together outside of this building right here, where we know that Quintin Jones is going to be executed, seems like the place we need to find ourselves, that we need to stand here. I don't know, and frankly, I don't even believe that our presence out here is going to cause the Supreme Court or Governor Abbott, Governor of Texas, to halt this execution. But we're not out here only to halt this execution. We're out here to raise a moral voice about the continuation of this execution, that we needed to stop. That at the very basic, for us to pursue the common good in our lives and in this world, we have to stop killing one another. We cannot allow ourselves to kill one another with state-sponsored killing and believe that we're pursuing the common good. And so we find ourselves at these moments where it can feel very insufficient to do what we're doing, or it can feel like it's simply a cause. But this is a deep moral moment. Someone said at our rally yesterday when we were outside the governor's mansion, trying to prod Governor Abbott to do the right thing yesterday, that we're not only here to try to change the outcome, we're trying to make sure that this outcome doesn't change us. That we don't want to find ourselves silently complicit with these actions. And so as a pastor, as a person that cares about all of humanity, as someone who wants to pursue the beauty and goodness of the world, you look at this prison complex over my shoulder, and you know that inside they have put together an elaborate system to kill a 41-year-old man. To take a healthy man and to inject his body with poison to cause his death. And that is being done in the name of the people of Texas. It's being done as a legal act in the United States. And whether all the systems are going to allow this to happen is not our only reason to be out here. We are out here because we say this is not how this should be. We should not create systems of death and of heartache. And this is not about should Quintin Jones be killed. This is a question, should the state of Texas be killing people? And it seems as if everyone in the system throws their hands up and says, there's nothing we can do about it. The governor says, I can't because the clemency board. And the clemency board says, well, it was the jury. And the jury says, well, it was the prosecutors. And the prosecutors say, well, it was because of Quintin. And everyone just seems to say, nothing we can do. And I heard a bit of Mandy Patinkin's impassioned speech, and it was so moving to me. We can do something. We do not have to pursue a life of vengeance. So, Rob, thank you so much for putting this together. We know that it's not appropriate or reasonable for everyone to leave their home and to travel to this small little street corner in Huntsville, Texas to bear witness. So some of us will stand here, others of us will be in the places where we find ourselves, but we are all bearing witness to life and all bearing witness to a better way forward. So I'm just so appreciative for you all bearing witness the way that you are. It's such an honor to find ourselves out here today.
So that's Doug Padgett. So, hello, Doug. And Doug is been on a call with Rob Schenck from the Bonhoeffer Bonhoeffer
Dietrich
Institute.
Bonhoeffer.
That's it. And they've got a number of evangelical folks on that Zoom call. So of course they brought in Shane and Doug Padgett to give that perspective. So that's why we've been just listening to what they're saying to that whole evangelical community. And I want to just say again, thanks everybody for being here and watching. It's what time is it? It's 5:48. So right across over there, if you look, there's a little house sort of structure there, and it's not getting too close to those speakers.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it
This is a crime that is being committed tonight. And that Texas is the criminal. Texas is the serial killer. From December 7th, 1982 until last July, 570 individuals
Okay.
have been
We're gonna
murdered
come back to the part of the
behind
story.
these
These
red
speakers are
brick
pointed
walls.
right here.
And we're saying,
Well, we're
stop
trying to.
the killing now.
There are a lot of people raising their voices out here, and it's one of those times where we want to allow everyone to share and everyone to talk to their own communities. It's sort of a wonderful bit of righteous chaos and good trouble and holiness that is motivating people to be out here. So that's why you're seeing all these different people. You hear all these various conversations. There's people from their cars that are telling these stories. There are people with sound systems. Some of us just on the street. Okay, if you want to.
Okay, are we ready now?
Yeah, we're ready now.
Okay. So that was Gloria Ruback from the Texas abolition movement, and she's got the speaker system there and cranking it up every so often. But if you look down the street there, there's a building on this side that has, that's where if they're still doing it the way it was the last time I was here, which has been a few years, that's where the witnesses would gather, the media witnesses and the families on both sides. And when we see them cross the street to go into the Walls unit here through the front door, that's when we know that they're getting ready to do the killing. And then when they're done, we see them come back out. That's how we know it's been done. So we'll be watching, and we're standing vigil here. And when we see that it's happened, we're going to, actually, we don't even need to wait. We've got some crime scene tape. We're going to roll that out and declare this a crime scene, which it is. They're murdering somebody tonight unnecessarily. And we're here to stand up to say that it's wrong. And not just today, but every day. And I know that everybody that's watching is committed to this work every day. And no matter what organization you align with or are part of, just keep doing the work. And especially if you want to help do it on the federal level. And this week we've literally been in Idaho and Nevada and Ohio and South Carolina and here in Texas. And we're just, whatever we can do to help people do this work, that's what we're up. That's what Death Penalty Action is about. So just grateful for Shane Claiborne and Doug Padgett and all of you that are watching to help make this happen and to be a part of it just by being present, just by taking action. By the way, those of you that signed the petitions on
Change.org.
The petitions on Gerald Pizzuto on, I think that's the right name. Sorry, there's so many. But in Idaho, the question was the parole board going to give the guy a hearing? They had a meeting yesterday. More than 4,000 of us signed petitions that were delivered straight to the president of the parole board there. They had their meeting and they agreed not to execute that guy on June 2nd, but instead to set a clemency hearing for him in November. So we helped stop that execution. And it doesn't always happen, but we did it this week in Idaho. And that's why we have to just be vigilant and keep taking action, keep being present to this issue.
It's Abe Bonowitz. Abe made that mention that it was the last time that he was here. A lot of people have been working for decades to try to bring an end to the death penalty. And one of the realities is that many states, most states, nearly all states have either stopped the death penalty or have put death penalty executions on a hiatus, but not Texas. Texas is the only state that currently has scheduled executions, including one in 15 minutes here. And the question really becomes, why is Texas such an outlier? I used to live in this state. I love people from Texas. I love Texas like you probably all love Texas. And the question is, why is Texas different than in the other states in the United States? Why is Texas more like the other countries around the world that still use the death penalty? And you should look that up. You should Google sometime the countries that are still utilizing the death penalty.
I'll tell you.
Shane will tell us who they are. And why is Texas more like...
It just boggles the mind. You know, I was researching this, and when I was born, probably when you were born, maybe you're a little older, but 45 years ago, there were like only 16 countries that had abolished the death penalty. And now it's like overwhelming, like most of the world, over 100 some countries have abolished the death penalty. And the only ones that are actively executing people are these, like China, number one, biggest executing country in the world. And then the next ones that fall in line are Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Iraq, and Yemen are right in there. And the United States is usually number 5, is always in the top 10 of the highest executions in the world. And, you know, those countries are not known for human rights. You know, these are not the champions of human rights. So that's the company that we keep, though.
And in the United States, Shane, you've made this clear in the last few days that so many states have abolished the death penalty or have put on hiatus executions, but not Texas.
Yeah.
So the state of Texas is continuing to execute people, including in a few minutes here.
Yeah, the good news is that almost every year a new state abolishes the death penalty, almost every year. And this year, actually just a few months ago, Virginia became the first formerly Confederate state to abolish the death penalty. So that's huge because it kind of opens up the possibilities, right? Like Texas could abolish the death penalty. Virginia, when you look at U.S. history, Virginia had the highest executions of any state in the country. Now it's Texas. I mean, half of the executions every year usually happen in Texas. And this year, all of the executions are in this one state. So even states like Pennsylvania, where I've been living, we still have the death penalty, but we haven't executed someone in like 20 years. So we're still working hard to just close the door on it. Why would we keep it alive, right? But that's each of us, wherever we're at, if you're in the United States, kind of figure out where our state's at and work to keep it moving. Because there's a lot of states that still have it on the books, but they don't use it. But what's also pretty haunting is that, as our brother Brian Stevenson says, this is the descendant of racism and lynching, that these states that have held on to the death penalty the longest, like Texas, are the same states that held on to slavery the longest. They're the same states that where lynchings were happening 100 years ago is where these executions are happening today. So our history, this kind of racial reckoning that's happening in our country, has to look at the death penalty. It's on the platform for the Black Lives Matter movement, the Poor People's Campaign. Most of the mass movements in our country are calling for abolition.
The fact that we're here in Texas at the facility, Shane, where they go through with these executions, and you can see that it's just a handful of people. It's a small crowd. It's a public bus worth of folks, and the people are just driving by, and all over the country. And that's people who are literally living within feet of the place where these executions are happening. We just sort of move on with our lives.
Yeah.
For people who are living in other places in the country where they don't have the death penalty, how do you think about what they can do, what their actions can be, how they can be engaged in their own advocacy and their own personal work, or with their families, or in their faith communities? How do you encourage them to?
Well, you know, I think part of what happened for Doug and I, for a few of us here, is that 5 days ago, we started saying, hey, there's literally a premeditated murder happening in Texas we don't want to look back and think, what more could we have done, right? So we did what we could, put flyer miles together, got out here, drove, and so I think all of us can say, where I am with what I've got, what can I do to use my voice? And some of it's as simple as friendly calls to our representatives, especially those of us that are Christians, like to really wear that on our sleeve and say, I'm a pastor, I'm a Christian, and my faith really compels me to want to see alternatives to the death penalty. I believe in restorative justice. I believe someone can be redeemed and reformed. And so I think we can raise our voices in that way, and we can do a lot of better teaching in our churches. We're going to work together with Vote Common Good to try to put together some resources where we can do better theology on this, right? Because some of this, like, the sad thing is that 90% of the executions are happening in the Bible Belt. And it's states like Texas where the governor is in mass every Sunday, is a professing Christian that is still trying to use scripture to justify the death penalty. And I'm one of those that did it. A lot of us have taken a closer look at scripture though and going, there's just no way to twist the good news of Jesus in order to justify the contemporary practice.
To use the teaching of the crucified one to validate the execution of others is...
Yeah. And the other thing too is I think we can amplify the voices of people who are directly impacted, right? The folks that like have moved me, Doug, so many others are folks that were wrongfully convicted. Folks like Rodney Reed, who's still facing the death penalty. His family's here. Our buddy Derek Jameson spent 20 years on death row.
Yeah, say something about Derek Jameson and what his story.
So Derek was in Ohio, and as a young man, he ended up being arrested, and then come to find out he was being charged and ultimately convicted of a crime he had nothing to do with. And for 20 years, he was on death row trying to, never budging on the fact that he was innocent. And he saw 50 of his friends executed. He was traumatized by that experience. I mean, Ohio was actively executed. He lost his mother while he was in prison. And then 20 years into this, the prosecution was forced to release all of their evidence, and they had over 30 pieces of evidence that proved his innocence. And so he was released without an apology and with no compensation. And that story is not, it's not the only story like that. There's over 170 folks like Derek now that have been, those are just the ones that have proved their innocence, right? That have been exonerated of the crimes they were convicted of.
And we're on death row.
Yes, and we're on death row. Derek had like 6 execution dates. I think at one point he was like 3 hours from his execution. I can't even imagine what that is like to be, Quintin Jones right now counting the hours of the life that you have left. And that's exactly what Derek experienced. And for him, it was a crime that he knew he was innocent of. So, that's one of the things for some folks that, believe in the death penalty in principle. They don't believe in the death penalty in practice because they're convinced that our broken human institutions can never perfectly carry out. Right. And you can't bring someone back from the dead, right, if you get it wrong.
You look at this physical structure and you think, are these really the people we're going to trust? Right. I'm somebody that has I have a high level of trust in our government.
A little higher than mine.
I carry a lot of because I know the government is people, and people want to do good things, and they join together politically to do good things.
Yeah.
But we also know that parts of our system are really broken, and the criminal punishment system is so broken. And so even for people like me who think, I don't know if I can trust all the government, so many of my conservative friends really don't trust the government, but somehow it comes to the death penalty, and all of a sudden they think, well, they're going to get that one right.
Right. And that's
why do all of a sudden these same people think they've got this just shows that there's something else going on that's driving people to this kind of thinking. So I just am so struck by it's all of this, right? That it's the personal stories and the personal pain and the failure of the system and the cruelty of all of this. Just get us both on here. That it's not one thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
That's why, I had that great line, Sister Helen. She says, sometimes the question isn't whether someone deserves to die, but whether or not we deserve to kill. And there are people that have done really, really horrific things. And somehow we point to these like worst cases and we say, we've got to keep the death penalty alive for Dylan Roof, for whoever it is, right? And yet, I think that's where we go, man, what we end up doing is mirroring the exact evil. I mean, what is happening right here is just unconscionable. And that's why there's one executioner who, he tried to hold out this idea that, we need to be tough on crime, and the death penalty is one of the ways that we do that. And it haunted him. I interviewed him, Ron McAndrew, and he said, I even moved from electric chair to lethal injection because I thought it would be a more sanitized way to carry out executions. And he said, but the men that we killed haunted me. They sat on my bedside in my sleep. They literally haunted him. And I'll never forget it. He said, there's just no good way to kill someone.
Wow.
Like whether it's hanging, electric chair.
Yeah.
So South Carolina just brought back the freaking firing squad, right? Yeah. So
seeing this scene here as well, you can see it's this manicured grassway and bushes outside of this sort of painful looking big building. Shane, a couple of years ago, you and I were in Tennessee at Riverbend Penitentiary, and we walked through the prison to the separate building where they keep the death row inmates.
Yeah.
And I remember walking along a sidewalk that looked like that one, and on the side there were signs that said, "Don't walk on the grass." And I thought there was more of a commitment to protecting the grass along the walkway to the building where they kept the people they were going to execute than there was for the men who were going to be executed. And this is what we face in this society. Hello.
Yes. I want to introduce Angie. You all right with it?
Hi, Angie. Didn't mean to surprise you with a video.
Angie has been visiting with Quintin for 11 years.
Yeah.
And she spoke with him this morning.
Yeah, I visited him this morning and yesterday. He was in a really good place this morning because he said he felt the love of all the people that were trying to save him. The law firm, the friends of friends, and all the people online. But he was in a good place, and he was a good guy. He was a good guy. He was a principled, caring guy who survived, 22 years of isolation. What do they call that?
Solitary confinement.
Solitary confinement. And he stayed, his mind stayed intact. And I just have a hard time believing everybody turned him down, even with maybe the intervention of the...
That's a lot of weight for you to carry. That's a lot of personal pain to be with him this morning and knowing that the state of Texas is going to execute him tonight.
But I guess I'll get through this.
Yeah. What brings you to being willing to serve in that way and to be with him?
Well, he was a friend of someone I visited, and I was feeling that I wanted to not go up there anymore. And he said, "But you're my only visitor," so I kept going for 11 years. So
bless you. Yeah.
His great aunt Maddie, I told her last night the news about the clemency effort, and she's 90. I'm going to see her Saturday. She's loved him his whole life, so she'll be okay, I hope.
Did he say anything particular to you that you think would be good for other people to know about what his experience has been?
Well, today he was just saying how much he felt the love of the people he knew, the pen pal who knows people, who knew people, and Mandy Patinkin wanting to get in touch with someone who could get in touch with an advisor. And the Vatican was supposedly contacted. His lawyer said the Pope, but he was just in such a good place, and I felt positive, but it still hasn't happened yet.
Yes. Your friend is alive.
We always hold out hope. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you for your good care.
There's many people out there that are giving you a big hug right now. Yeah. Just sending you positive
Thank you.
Love and feeling.
Thank you.
Let us know any way we can be supportive, okay? That's why we're here.
Yeah, it's always good
Philadelphia,
people who
California,
support
Minneapolis.
people on this issue,
Yeah. You're not alone. Quinn's not alone either.
No, not alone.
I hear they can hear you in there.
Is that right?
Somebody said. Because it's supposed to be in that end of the building.
Right
is what
now,
I
he is?
understand. Down there, so not here. You know, his family was the victim family.
Yeah.
And they didn't want, I guess they didn't take into account, you know, in the trial with the family, that the family would be opposed to it.
And you're re-victimizing the family.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. He has a twin brother who he told me they just broke down last night, you know, speaking to each other.
So again, all of you that are watching, we're holding vigil here, and often as vigils are, there's not as much to do as you might want there to be. These men are doing their role of prison to keep us on the other side of this plastic chain, and we are staying on this side with this small group of people bearing witness to a state-sponsored execution. When you talk about it in such blunt terms as state-sponsored killing, David, really is a difficult way to think about it. That we have an entire apparatus. We did a full, worldwide shutdown to protect lives. We go to great extent to save and protect lives. And we also put together very sophisticated apparatus to take lives. And that confusion of us as human beings and what we're doing it's hard to live with. And I know a lot of people don't want to talk about the United States' failure in the judicial system because they think, well, we do good things. And yes, we work hard to save lives. And then we work very diligently and aggressively to take lives. And it would just be better if we stopped killing one another. Everywhere in this world, it seems to me, and everywhere that we find ourselves. So appreciate all of you. We see throughout all the streams, we see hundreds of you on these streams during all this time. We have done full programs at these kinds of events. Today, it's not about our programming, it's about what we can say from the people that are out here about this shared experience. Hello.
This is Delia Perez Meyer, brother Lewis on death row, and she's one of the usual suspects that comes up to the fast and vigil and is just always present with everybody. And she's going to share with us a little bit too.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you.
And tell me your name.
My name is Doug.
Hi, Doug. Well, thank you for being here. It really means the world to us that you all have come from so far to be here with us. And we've had over 560 executions. None of them are easy. This one is particularly difficult because the family forgave him, and just the fact that the whole world came forward, and the calls were made to the Vatican, and little children became involved, and it was just a very powerful experience to watch that. I'm so humbled to see other family members here. The Reed family is here for the first time, and that means a lot to me because generally we're standing out here, there's just a few of us, and it's really, really hard, We do have a hospitality house that we generally gather at as well, where our loved ones can make telephone calls, to us. And so...
That's near this facility here?
50 blocks down the road. Yeah. But Angie chose not to go there today, so we didn't get that phone call. And then, of course, we've just been waiting on the Supreme Court's decision, and unfortunately, they turned us down. And it's been really a difficult day because, I have a brother on death row, and to be with her today, to take care of all the paperwork, and to understand the process of what who's going to take control of the body.
Can you talk a bit about that? What is?
Yeah,
What,
so
what
there
I
are
don't know what.
rules and regulations and laws and a lot of paperwork involved that, we have to be able to name who's going to be in control of the body and how we're going to dispose of the body or bury it, or in this case, a cremation is planned. And then, of course, they want to know a list of all the persons who are going to be with the body after execution. They will cross over and witness the execution, and then the body will be taken to a funeral home to a nearby church, and then some of us will be able to go in and be with the body, and then they will transfer it down into Houston, which is where the funeral home is that will handle the cremation. And then it could be up to 30 days because there's some more signatures and paperwork that needs to be done. So it's a
It shows
grueling process, and it's really just unfathomable and so unnecessary. This person is young and healthy and very remorseful, and could have lived a wonderful remainder of his life in prison if that's what they chose for him. But he was never given a chance. And he had a rough childhood, and I got to hear a lot about him, and I didn't know him personally, so it was really nice to hear about him. He was a wonderful person, and he had wonderful friends all around the world, pen pals, and a lot of support. And so thank you for being here.
Yes, and that sharing that piece of the preparation that goes in really punctuates how premeditated this is.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
how real this death is, right? There's going to be a body, and it has to then be dealt with. This isn't an issue that for a lot of people, their connection to this is as an issue, but it's also families and people and bodies
real people with real loved ones. This is Yancy. Her husband is also on death row, and it's just been very, very difficult. But again, we're grateful that you're here.
Grateful for all the work that you do to support and to humanize and to call out this situation that is. They try to make it, at least to me, is my opinion. So I don't want to put it on you, but they try to make the system seem like it's so legitimate, right? By having signatures and making sure they're going to now make sure that they know who's going to have the body.
Right.
These are the same people who are going to go through with ending Quinn's life.
Yeah.
And then they're the ones that are going to tell you how this all needs to go after that. Like, something is just the power dynamics and the inhumanity is.
The inhumanity and the vengefulness of it, is always just so surprising to me that it just continues over and over and over again. It's like it's just never going to end, no matter what we do or how hard we work, or I'm just so grateful for all these different little abolition groups that are here today that have really made a big difference.
Tell us about all the different groups that are here.
Well, we're so grateful to have you, Abraham. We go to the Fast and Vigil each year, and it's a very powerful event for us.
Can you say a little bit about that for those who are new to this and don't know the Fast and Vigil?
We have been there for, is it 23? No.
It's coming up on the 20, I think it's the 28th annual that we're doing.
Yeah, okay.
It's called the quarter of a century. They refer to that.
28 years. And so we stand before the Supreme Court, and we just, we tell our stories, and
these are family
members. Murder victim family members, exonerees, and clergy. And
a lot of people don't know that there would be a community formed among family members of those who have loved ones and family members on death row, those who are family members of people who have been murdered, people who have been executioners.
Exactly.
That this was something brings this whole community.
Yes. And it's such a beautiful family. We consider ourselves family. We really do. And it's grueling because it's a fast, and so many of us fast for 4 days, and that's always tricky.
You don't have to fast them. Many don't.
Yeah, that's true. And but to be there and to educate people that walk by, right in front of the Capitol or right in front of, the Supreme Court is a very powerful event for all of us. We have teach-ins in the evening, and this year will be June 29th through July the 2nd, and we will do a lot of it virtually, although there will be a small presence at the Supreme Court. But as far as the other groups that are here, we have a recent college graduate, and she did her PhD or master's program on the death penalty. And then Yancy Balderas, her husband is on death row, and she also has been extremely supportive of other family members. Miss Linda and Miss Danny are part of an organization that just sort of formed itself and being called the Death Row Angels. So it's just folks like us that support loved ones on death row. And when I mean support, I mean financial, emotional, psychological, visitation, purchasing food,
Wow.
What's that name of that organization?
Well, it's lightly called the Death Row Angels.
Is there a way people can support them?
It's fondly called the
Right. Hey friends, sorry, sometimes we get little glitches in the moment, and I want to make sure the audio is working. It seems like it is. So you can see there's a whole cluster of people.
You're back.
Okay. So we think we figured out something on the streaming system we're using about how that works. So we are troubleshooting while we're trying to troubleshoot a broken system.
Am I on here?
You're on here.
Okay, so yeah, and a lot of people were watching last night at the governor's mansion when we went out. We lost a sound there too. But of course, when you're running this program, it's really hard to pay attention to all that's happening.
Yeah, I didn't know how to fix it last night.
Yes, and now we know. Somebody calls and it shuts things off and set it up again. So it's kind of let's look at the kids.
Yeah.
Okay? Say stop the execution. Stop the execution.
You getting yours on? You gonna hold yours? All right, here we go.
Let's get to work out our
It's
sleeves.
getting a little warm in there.
Are you working on your sleep?
1, 2, 3.
We need justice!
What do we need? We need justice.
All right.
Thank you guys. Gracias. Hola, preciosa.
I'm so glad y'all are here.
So we're starting now to notice not only are more people arriving, people whose families are connected to death row inmates and to others, and now there's a larger presence. You can see it's not big, but 3, 4, 5 corrections officers. And now more of them have started to gather together out here. We're just on this little street here in Huntsville, Texas, in this old penitentiary.
Share the video. Do what you can to get Quintin's. Make sure that Quintin's life mattered. Let them know that Quintin's life
You can see
mattered.
people are
All the guys.
running their own live streams. We've been live for an hour this afternoon. Yesterday we were live from outside the governor's mansion and the state capitol building, doing what we could there to pressure the governor to do the right thing. And now we find ourselves outside this prison. And the execution was scheduled for 6 p.m. There's now, I can see, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 officers that are now out and around. I don't know what that's about. It's talking about there's more. Where's Megan? So that house straight ahead there, through the trees and over the officer's shoulder, is a place where the witnesses will gather. And once the witnesses gather, then they will cross the street, as far as we understand, and then witness this murder. It's one of the parts to this system that is so off-putting and so hard for people to understand, is that there are witnesses who go in to confirm that it happened. So while we have these witnesses out here calling for a moral witness to stop it, there are other witnesses who are invoked to certify it. We're talking here about killing a person. A lot of people think there's a good reason to kill a person. Some of us would disagree that there is, but even if you think you have a good reason to kill a person, you are killing a human being. People are sworn, officers especially, to serve and protect, and then the same forces kill someone to fulfill justice. It's a difficult thing. We think a lot for these officers, for all that are involved in this work, that this is a broken system with a broken promise that hurts all and so many people. So I wonder if these little sweeties will have the privilege of growing up in a world where they say, I stood on a street corner back in 2021 in the middle of a global pandemic to try to stop and abolish the death penalty, and I don't have to stand out here any longer. Hi guys, you want to tell us why you're out here today? We'd love to hear what brings you out.
So we can stop the execution of people getting killed for their mistakes, and they shouldn't be getting killed because of their mistakes. Because like everyone deserves a second chance, but like still.
Yeah, thank you. That's big thoughts. Yeah, you've been thinking about this for a while.
Stop killing people. Stop killing people.
That's pretty simple, isn't it? Stop killing people. Yeah,
It's
no
just
more
one
killing.
thing to do.
Yes. Wouldn't you guys like to grow up in a world where we agree to stop killing each other? That's a world I want to live in. To think the people inside that building, I bet most all of them would like that too. So why don't we do that, huh? Why don't we stop killing people then? What's a guy to do, some people say. Well, what you can do is stop killing people.
That's a good start. Start there. Watch out.
We're now 25 minutes after the scheduled execution time, and children are out here speaking truth.
Yes.
Telling
We
the
need
story.
more love and peace.
Yes.
Right. That's right.
Yes.
Say that.
It would be a better world, wouldn't it, if there was more love, more peace, and less killing?
Just a few things to do.
Few things to do. You have a to-do list.
You got another? What's something else on that list? Other things we should do in the world.
Give people second chances.
Yeah.
Now, you guys don't look quite old enough to drive, so I don't think you drove yourself here. Who did you come with? Who was in your car? Is this your mom? Hi there. You got a little sweetie with you there. You know, this little one seems to know that we should stop killing people, don't you? Good to grow. Wouldn't that be better? We're all good to grow. This little sweetie. And you run around with these guys? You with these guys? Yeah. Thank you for being out here today. Kids know The adults know. Can't speak for all dogs, but I'm guessing even the dogs know we should stop killing each other. You guys probably know this, but people make our laws, don't they? Like, they don't just exist, people do it. So maybe when you all grow up, you could make some laws that are more about not killing people.
Probably a different way of being people. Like, there's this place, I don't know where it is, but they give prisoners a good life. They don't make them harsh because they're going to be better. They just put them in prison for a few weeks and they give them the best life they can.
You mean other countries where they do this?
Yeah, in other countries. It needs to be everywhere.
Yeah.
More peace and love.
Yeah. You even understand restorative justice, that if someone does something wrong, you try to help them do something right. You don't do to them what they did to others. Everybody's taught that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes. If someone harms you, you find a way to help them do the right thing. I'd like the governor to do that. Will you check with them now and see if that's still the case? That might have been a few minutes ago. Also, I've already checked. Friends, we're just double checking the audio, making sure that it's still working. We're getting some messages that people may be having an audio problem. Which, so you know, we basically have an iPhone that this is all happening on, a little selfie stick. So that's all. It's as sophisticated as this setup is. And this is also being broadcast on 9 different Facebook pages, 4 different YouTube channels, and on Twitch, and on Periscope, and on Twitter. And so we're putting this out to all the places. So this is a multicast because we want to make sure that as many people as possible have a chance to see the building where this execution is going to happen, to stand in solidarity with a victim of a homicide. And that's not just hyperbole to say that a homicide is being planned and scheduled to take place in the next few minutes inside the building over my shoulder. The death certificate of Quintin Jones after he is executed this afternoon, which now all the appeals have been extinguished and the Supreme Court has denied granting clemency. And so if the execution does go through here, the death certificate that is signed in the next few hours will list as the cause of death homicide. You might know that in our judicial system, we have different categories of homicide there. You may have seen this in some of the trials, the Derek Chauvin trial for his murder of George Floyd. There were different degrees of murder, different degrees of crime around a homicide. The people that are performing the homicide that's taking place in that building are told by our laws that it's justifiable homicide. So the courts won't consider it to be a crime. But the moral court says this is a moral crime. And that's why people are here. So a homicide is taking place in that building that the people with the power to execute are the people that also have the power of the law, saying that it's a justifiable action. And that, in a nutshell, is the dilemma around state-sponsored executions. That the homicide that will take place in that building in the next few minutes or hours is considered appropriate, wanted, desired. It will be tasked written up and completed. A man's life will be extinguished. We just talked with a person who spent time with Quintin Jones this morning and has been his frequent visitor over the last 11 years. So we know that this is not only a moral outrage, but it's a personal tragedy. And so we stand. And we wait.
Okay, y'all, show me your signs. I'm going to take one more picture now that all the kids are here.
Many of these people that you're seeing here are part of the Texas death penalty abolition movement, trying to stop the death penalty in Texas. A few others of us traveled from around the country, people from Pennsylvania, from Minnesota, from Ohio, from California, from all the... Would you like to be in there with him and I'll take the picture?
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
But I do have to keep backing up.
Got a wide angle on that?
Y'all need to get closer to
It's on a small little road, back of a car wash.
The signs down right in front of you. Hold the signs down below in front of you. There you go. Thank you.
Abe is quite efficient at staging the photos that are necessary for these actions.
All these wonderful people have traveled to Huntsville, and we are here standing against Quintin Jones' execution.
What do we want? Abolition! When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Abolition!
When do we want it?
Now!
Texas says death row.
We say hell no!
Texas says death row.
We say hell no!
Huntsville says death row.
We say hell no!
Abbott says death row.
We say hell no!
TDC says death row.
We say hell no!
Death row.
Hell no!
Death row.
Hell no!
And this person's pulled up in their car, and I can kind of see through there that they've got their camera out, and they're taking pictures of the people protesting this execution.
Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down!
Huntsville, Texas.
Shut it down!
Governor Abbott.
Shut it down!
The death penalty.
Shut it down!
The board of pardons.
Shut it down!
Execution.
Shut it down!
Capital punishment.
Shut it down!
The whole damn system.
Shut it down!
The lefty unit.
Shut it down!
What did you say? Oh, Polanski. Yeah. Building 12. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's that?
If we walked around to the other side of the building,
You would have to go all the way down there.
yeah,
You're not going to go through here.
yeah, but is there another angle, anything to see down there? Do you think?
No, the place that we're watching is that door there,
Right here at the little awning.
where the grass railings are
Yeah.
by that white man. That's the front door, and that's where people will come out of when they're done, patting themselves on the back and get in their cars and drive away.
Which I will this, I'm just going to go narrate for the people what's going on right here.
Sure.
Like you're a tour host, a tour.
Maybe I saw stuff earlier from the national. The Texas Defenders
Why are we continuing to create more victims? It just doesn't make sense.
Yancy, we're on deathpenaltyaction.org or Facebook. Right? Also, if you want to say a few words to the people that are watching here, got about 150 people watching.
Well, I, from the bottom of my heart, thank all the activists, everyone who signed Quintin Jones' clemency petition, petition to live. Thank you for showing love to our brother Quintin Jones, because we're all brothers and sisters in Christ. And um, thank you for showing him that love, that brotherly and sisterly love to everyone. I know that he got a lot of signatures, over 150,000 people signed his petition. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for calling. Thank you for joining us in the fight to end all of the death penalty here in Texas, to abolish the death penalty here in Texas. Thank you for fighting. Thank you for traveling. Execution. .org, right?
At deathpenaltyaction.org.
Yeah.
Yes.
I see you always traveling all around the country. Thank you, because as a family member, I have my innocent husband on death row. It's very important to support each other and to receive this support even from the strangers. We appreciate it, because it's hard dealing with the death penalty. And thank you for supporting Quintin Jones, and thank you for fighting the death penalty. And thank you for being in Texas, even though it's under these circumstances. Y'all here fighting with us, and we appreciate.
We're fighting with you even when we're not here physically. That's
Spirit, all our friends in Europe, I know that y'all always support us. I know that you're always praying across the big ocean. Thank you. I know that you're always a big part and a strong support to abolish the death penalty. Thank you to all our European friends and friends for all across the world. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Yancy. It's about times like this when things get relaxed and people, just kind of waiting for news. Normally we see down the street here, you can see where the brass railings are. That's the front door of the prison. And we see people come across the street from the administrative building to go in, and we haven't seen that this time. And I'm told that's because nobody from Quintin Jones's family, he didn't want anybody to watch. So he's got a spiritual advisor in there, and that's it. So his family is not present. Comes somebody out. That looks like just somebody. Yeah. So what happens is when we see a bunch of people come out that door, that's when we know. Hey, Nicole. You want to tell people a little bit about what you've been up to?
Sure. You want me to hold it?
Who's that? It's Doggies for Abolition.
We need a shirt. We need a t-shirt.
So, Nicole, you want to just tell us who you are and how you come to be here?
Sure.
There's about 150 people watching at least. And,
hi, guys.
Actually, it says 336 now. So.
Wow. Yeah, so I'm Nicole Kimborowski. I have my master's in criminal justice, where I studied the loved ones of those on death row. And then now I'm going to Florida for my PhD, where I'll continue to study, hopefully Texas death row, but Florida likes my research, so I might, start studying Florida death row too. So I did observations out here, and I got to know a ton of the families and friends, and they're some of the best people you can ever imagine, as you know. So here I am to support Quinn, whose family, he has family members that don't want him to die. And those same family members had to experience the murder that he committed, you know? So they'll be going through the most stressful process twice. One by a late teen man with a troubled childhood, and the other by millions and millions of complicit citizens and state workers. You just can't rely on a system to have ethics, really. That's what we found out. And while I'm happy that we still haven't heard anything, my heart breaks for Quinn, because, I mean, no one is supposed to be on the brink of death like this.
And know it's coming. Yeah.
And know it's coming. It's cruel. So I'm hopeful. Really hopeful.
A lot of people are sending thank yous and hearts and all that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
So,
thanks, guys.
you know, looks like, I'm not sure what that is, but a crowd of people, small crowd, coming out.
Yeah, we didn't see them walk in.
Yeah, well, I'm told that, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, he doesn't have witnesses. I think he just has a spiritual advisor with him. But no one here reported seeing people walk across. So.
Yeah, we see them walk across from over there.
Okay, they're saying, is that administrators, guys? I think so.
So, yeah, that's people in suits.
That's just people getting off.
Yeah, so right now, as we know, Quinn is still very much alive.
As far as we know.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
And this is just the waiting game.
Right. Well, and it's good to see you here. You're so busy. I saw you were in Nevada.
And we had some action in Idaho the other day, and I wasn't there for that one, but we're just trying to support the work wherever it's happening.
Yeah, thank you. Hi.
My name's Shane. What was your name?
Nicole.
Nicole, good to be with you.
I was watching your guys' video earlier today. I think it was the one today.
Yeah, in Karen's kitchen.
Yes. Yeah, that's what made me realize. Yeah, get ready and go.
Hey, thanks for being here. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
nobody really wants to be here, but even more, you don't want someone to die without people raising their voices. So.
Well, I can say to this group watching, is that Texas totally needs more people out in Huntsville on these nights.
Right.
Like this support crew, it's like it can't be 10 people that are showing up every time.
Sometimes it's just used to be this guy named Dennis Longmire. I'm not sure where he's at, but he was a professor here at Sam Houston State College. It's here, and he used to stand right on this corner, right here, and focus on the cross that you can't really see, but it's if you see that, can I zoom this in? Let's see if we can zoom this in. Look at that, we can zoom it in. So Dennis would stand on this corner and focus on that cross, which is over the top, if what we're told is correct, over the top of the chapel that's in there, and focus on that. And sometimes he was the only one here. I mean, it's been over 500 executions, and this is the space. So what Nicole is saying is right. We need people that can come. I think the next scheduled execution is June 30th, and that's during the fast and vigil. A lot of us will be up in Washington, D.C. at the U.S. Supreme Court, or attending that virtually, and that's when
I think it's important to note, too, that the people that are out here are friends and family, so they're dealing with all the trauma of supporting their own loved one in this situation, which is really impossible to fathom. And then they're the ones who show up to the protest. So if you can't do it, you don't have a bond with the people on death row. I mean, these are mothers, sisters, brothers, fathers, and they really need support. And you do that by showing up. So hopefully we'll see more of you guys out here. It's a friendly group, and it's a really profound experience.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah.
What's Doggy for Abolition's name?
This is Lulu.
Hi, Lulu.
She is definitely for abolishment. Love, love, love.
I just saw someone in a suit walk across the
Yeah.
road there.
We were trying to decide if that person was just leaving work or what's up, but they're going back in. So
Well, I caught a little attention when I walked around the building there.
what happened at the...
So I walked around the other side of the building, and a number of these officers, I think, followed me over. I just wanted to see if there was a different angle for this live stream so we could see something other than what they've been seeing the whole time. The officer there said, "I need you not to be here. This is for victims only." So it sounds like that's a place for family victims.
Let me see what we have. Yes.
Family victims to come.
There you
Shirt
go.
duty.
Back to you, Doug.
Over to you, Abe. All right, we've been out here an hour and 25 minutes now live streaming this. Don't know what the battery life is like on the phone at this point. We're just going to keep it all going. Children are interested in a shirt. Old abolitionist Abe has some shirts here.
Wait. But this is the smallest one I got. That one.
Stay strong. Is that it? We're all supporting you. Oh, look. Look, we're talking to him. They're talking.
Hey, Quintin, it's Gloria. We know that no witnesses or your spiritual advisor have walked across the street. Something's holding it up. And I'm going to be visiting Death Row. I hope to see you in the visiting room next week. Keep your head up. I want to see you next Thursday.
Everybody lives in the lawn. I've seen too many spiritual advisors. I've seen Catholic dogs back across that street a million times. But that has to leave.
I need a 2X. Okay. I think you're about to preach blood.
I guess we're just going to keep streaming from here. 300 and some odd people at any given moment are tuning into this.
One of the things that they said is that the folks can hear inside when we're out here with the speaker system. So, and even we've been told that folks can hear from where they're being held before their execution. So it's powerful to think that some of the prayers and song, chants that they can hear that inside and know that they're not alone. Amazing to think like 500 people or so have been killed inside this space.
Yeah. Space that is set aside and designed to kill people.
Yep.
It's been a trip driving and all that back.
Well,
No, maybe.
Bebito, watch the girls.
We'll let you go.
Watch the girls.
I brought water. I'm fine. Thank you.
No, this one.
But there's somebody from, is it the Abolition Center or the Abolition?
Hello. Are you on I'm good. Are you on a chat with people there? Are you on a live stream?
Yeah, on live stream.
Do you have a minute to talk, or are you?
I don't have it turned on though. I'm unmuted.
Boy, you're pretty efficient at this. Here.
Yeah.
You're out here. I was hearing that you're someone that helped support the families.
Yes.
And others.
Yes.
Death Row Angels. Is that how?
Death Row Angels. That's what Danny and I are, both of us. And
Yeah. Tell
we
us
have the
about
families. I have a lake house. They stay at my lake house for. They're in Livingston to, before the execution, things like that.
How many families have you supported in that way?
I would say about 25. We've only had the house about a year or two. We've had 3 years.
3 years.
Did you hear that many of them
Well, it's a great thing you do. It's also a lot of pain for you to carry. I mean, those
It is.
25 families that you know the stories of their...
Right. We know their stories. We know things that, you know, how the families hurt too. I mean,
Yeah.
they think that the people don't think that the families hurt, but they do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, these situations are just full of pain all the way around, right?
it is, exactly.
If the person committed the crime, then the family has suffered.
Right.
The family of the murderer has...
Yes.
There's a lot of pain around all that, and
next month, my husband and I are going to be, we're going to be witnesses to the execution because John Hummel, we're the only people that visit him.
really,
He has no other visitors, and his parents are dead. They died after he went to prison.
and often people who are convicted of these murders are really abandoned by other people in their lives, aren't they?
Right. Oh, yes. A lot
Yeah.
of them have parents that are living, but they are not there.
How did you become someone so caring for people in these
The
situations?
man that I married's brother-in-law was on death row for 27 years, but he's now at life. He's got life.
Okay.
So he, that's how I got involved. And then when he went to life, which has been like 8 years ago, he told me, he said, Linda, don't give up the fight. Help the other guys too, just like you helped me. Help them. He said, because a lot of them have nobody to help them. So we have attorneys and things that help. You know, we call and tell them, hey, can you look at this guy's case?
Yeah.
And they end up taking it, you know, so.
Just struck him. And there are a lot of people, you know, who are watching this stream and are new to this issue, that they're not as close to it as you are.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Yes, I'm with you right now.
You're fantastic. She's
No action going
she's
on,
multitasking,
so.
talking to me while also listening to a live stream that she's on, a Zoom meeting with some other people. An incredible person here.
Well, we're not going to leave. We're not going to leave until we know something. So we'll be here.
Incredible.
Right. Yeah, on the Facebook page. Yeah.
People giving a thumbs up. People clapping, cheering on these folks. Okay, she's on a little break. I want to come back to her and get the rest of that story. But back to Abe Bonowitz.
Well, I want to actually show a picture of the suitcase over here. You can see it's practically empty, and that's because, yeah. So over the last few days, I've been traveling, and I have literally been giving these T-shirts away in Nevada and here in Texas to people that will wear them, because it's how you start the conversation. And you know, and we were able to raise enough money to buy a bunch of these, and then the pandemic happened, and we haven't been in person. And I figured it's time to make sure we get them out. So people want to donate to help us do more of that visibility giveaway. Feel free. If you want to just order one, go to publicaction.org and click on the merch tab. I'm not trying to sell stuff here. I'm trying to create visibility in our movement. That's what it's about. So I'm just super excited because I had this.
Abe has an empty suitcase, and that's a goal accomplished. We got a song.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Until the killing of black men, black mother's son is as important as the killing of white men. White mother's son, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. That which touches me most is that I had the chance to work with people, passing on to others that which has passed unto me. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. To me, young people come first. They have the courage when we fail. And if I can but shed some light as they carry us through the gale, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. The older I get, the better I know that the secret of my going on is when the reins are in the hands of the young who dare to run against the storm. He who believes in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Not needing to clutch for power, not needing the light to shine on me. I need to be one in the number as we stand against tyranny. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Struggling myself don't mean a whole lot. I've come to realize that teaching others to stand up and fight is the only way my struggle survives. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Thank you, Ella. I'm a woman who speaks in a voice, and I must be heard. At times I can be quite difficult. I'll bow to no man's word. He who believes in freedom cannot rest. He who believes in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. Come on, sing it with me, y'all. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. One more time. We who believe. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. Yes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Rest, rest. We cannot rest. We cannot rest. Thank you, everybody. I gotta get some djembes next time. We gotta get some drums.
Sorry about that, everybody. We got a little sweetie that's gonna... That was wonderful, man.
I want them. You're broken down and tired, living out merry-go-round, but you can't find a fighter that's in you to go walk it down. And fountain, we go walk it down and fountain, and I rise like the day, I rise like the day, and I through the fountain, time is getting.
Come on now.
It will rise up times again. It won't rise up, rise like the day. I rise up, I rise unafraid. I rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. You. And we'll rise up, rise like the day. I rise up, I rise unafraid. I rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I wanted to say my name is Marilyn, and I like to be here, and I love to be here too. And I also like how you listen to
Oh, thank you. We're gonna be all right.
The whole family sings? I don't know. I mean, I don't know about him. I haven't seen him sing. It's the first time. Is that your song? Yes.
A speech.
Oh.
I got 1 minute to listen to me.
I can't believe I'm singing.
What happened?
Where did they go?
There's a bunch of people right over there that just came out.
That's the guy
Yeah, they went.
with the hat on. He's a minister. Wait.
So we believe this is one of the maybe the ministers who was with Quintin. And we believe the execution is now taking place. And we're just going to come up and see if he'd be willing to tell us what he knows about what went on.
So did the execution happen? What? Were y'all witnesses?
I'm the director of chaplain.
Was his spiritual advisor in there?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
And there was no media?
I don't know about that.
Huh. You're the director of chaplaincy for TDC?
Yes, ma'am.
So he's dead.
Yes, ma'am. We're headed to the church right now.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm a pastor from Minneapolis. We're a number of faith leaders that are here to support the family and
Sure.
speak out, so we know.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of weight for you to carry as well.
Yes, it is.
Been part of it, yeah.
Not a fun day.
No,
I can tell you that.
it's no good. Well,
Do y'all let him know that y'all are against executions?
We don't talk to him.
Y'all don't tell him?
No.
yeah.
We talk to him about his spiritual well-being and whatever needs he may have.
Yeah.
and need to-
No, but y'all don't tell Texas. Y'all don't tell the.
Huh?
Y'all don't tell the Texas representatives there like y'all doing wrong.
There aren't any there.
Oh, they're
They're
not.
in another.
We're in another place. Good night now.
Thank you for being there for him.
Okay, so that man, as you may have heard there, you could hear all of it through the mask, but he's the director of chaplains for the prison. So he was with Quintin Jones when he was executed. And he confirmed to us that he has been killed. And we are here to hold vigil on his behalf and with him. It's a sad, heavy time, and I think the little sweetie singing that song at just that moment was the right way to go. Shane, you want to say anything final before we cut off?
Which is very strange since Quintin's case has received media attention from all over the country. But the media didn't walk across the street. I just talked to some Yahoo cowboy who's had a chaplaincy for TCJ, and he said he was in there and the execution took place.
And you spoke to him? Let's go.
I spoke to him. Yeah,
Okay,
we
good.
on the video. And
Now that's you guys got the first information. People watching this live stream. We're declaring this a crime scene.
Is now
So when we're
dead.
ready.
A great cowboy is on his way to the church.
Get some pictures.
so in an act of statement, we want to declare that this is a crime scene. So we're putting up crime scene tape as a moral crime. And this sometimes is met with some angst from the officers. So we'll see what becomes of this. It's an important moral statement. We're not always good at unrolling the tape. This is our declaration now that we have confirmation that Quintin Jones was executed by the state of Texas, that this is a moral crime. We believe these lines should not be crossed. And so as human beings, some of us as ministers of the gospel of an executed one, we declare this a crime scene.
Well, we just got word that they executed him. Yeah, so just symbolic.
Oh, look, crime scene. Do not cross.
He's doing the best he can to ignore this little statement.
Hold that on.
Okay, we're gonna continue our moral witness in all the other ways that we can from outside this prison.
We'll keep in touch. Yeah, I'm really glad y'all came out. Yeah, good.
Thank you for all your goodness.
There it is. Shane, so we're declaring this a crime scene. We've executed. Again, first time in more than 9 months we've had an execution in this country, a state execution. Once again, it's a crime scene. And it's time to say no over and over again.
It's a moral crime. We should not cross this line again.
I don't know.
Okay, Abe, I'm going to sign off. You good?
It's been so nice. I'm driving.
Yep, thank you. We understand.
Thank you.
No crime scene tape for the criminals.
It's a one-way road, and you don't want the people driving the wrong way down the road.
Well,
all right.
Thank you all for watching. GetPenaltyAction.org, Red Letter Christians,
.org and VoteCommonGood.com.
Vote Common Good, and everybody else. Take action, and thank you for being out with us.
And let's stop killing one another.
Stop the killing.